Hello everyone. My name is Michael Bamberger. I'm going to be talking to you about the importance of big data in development evaluation. So we'll be covering how you define big data, why it's potentially important for development evaluation, giving a few examples, and then asking why, if big data is so important, why is it used in so few evaluations at the moment? And then quickly a few of the challenges in using big data and some conclusions. So big data is normally defined in terms of at least 6 categories. It's a huge volume, it's generated very fast, it's too large to be able to analyze on a single computer, the data is almost always on, it's a continuous flow of data. Nowadays you can get longitudinal data sets, some of which cover 20 or more years. For example, longitudinal data might give you 20 years of records on changes in forest cover or ocean temperatures. The data is non-reactive. The fact that you're looking at it is not changing the data. And also you can capture a much wider range of data, which is very important for analyzing complex development programs. A few examples of some of the main kinds of big data which are available nowadays. We're all familiar with social media analysis, Facebook, Twitter, satellites and drones. These can be used for a wide range of evaluation purposes, tracking mobility, looking at longitudinal trends. Radio calling programs, which are very useful for analyzing conflicts and concerns at the local community level. Internet searches for predicting behavior and trends in what people are looking at. Mobile phones, one of the examples is to use the amount of airtime which people purchase as an example of short-term changes in poverty hotspots. Administrative data, where you merge data from a number of different organizations and you can analyze PDF files to look at changes in what organizations are doing, what they're thinking about. Internet of Things, different kinds of sensors. You can monitor water usage, power usage, people going in and out of buildings. You can also create more complex models such as digital twins. Telecom call data, nowadays all phone companies are required to keep records of all of the calls, so you can use this for tracking mobility, for example, integration of refugees. So why is big data important for evaluation? Firstly, there are a number of challenges facing most current evaluations. It's very expensive and time-consuming to collect data, which often means that evaluations work with relatively small samples. It's also difficult to cover long periods of time with conventional evaluations, so you get very little data before a program has begun or after it's ended. Many kinds of useful data can also be difficult to collect using surveys, for example, dynamic changes in how programs are operating. Most evaluations are retrospective. They're looking to the past. They're not helping management to make decisions on future program planning. The challenges of emergence, the fact that programs are constantly changing as they're being implemented, very difficult to capture with many kinds of evaluation. You need more dynamic data. Then also capturing the complex environment in which most programs are operating. So some of the potential benefits of big data for addressing these issues: the data is fast and economical to access, which means you can have much larger samples or complete population coverage in some cases. You can also automate the routine data collection and analysis, which allows time to focus on the evaluative process itself, which is a major benefit. You can also have access to a much wider range of data, broader geographical coverage, longer periods of time. And the new world of data analytics gives us a lot of powerful new analytical tools. You can create natural experiments. You can create integrated data platforms merging different data sets. You can use text analytics to use the huge volumes of data which is being collected and not used by many organizations. You can use predictive analytics for looking to the future rather than just analyzing the past. You can model different scenarios. Some of the examples of big data usage in evaluation: mapping settlement growth, population movements, infrastructure, disasters, analysis of social conflicts, hate speech, fake news, predicting the growth of vulnerable populations and the demand for services, assessing the integration of refugees into host countries, infodemiology, tracking information spread on COVID-19 and other pandemics, which, including fake news. You can integrate data sources from different agencies, and you can use text analytics on this data. So there's a very wide range of applications. So if big data is potentially so powerful for evaluation, it's surprising to see how few evaluators are using big data at the moment. So what are some of the reasons for this? Firstly, there's a lack of familiarity with big data and data science. It's not included in many evaluation training programs. There are questions of cost and accessibility, and there are also ongoing debates between evaluators and data scientists covering things like different approaches to data quality and bias, the role of theory, correlation versus causality, questions about what you can do with large numbers, how representative are they, ground truthing and mixed methods, the importance of direct contact with affected communities and not just using remote data collection, questions of social inclusion. So a few challenges using big data. There are a lot of design challenges. There's potential bias in the kinds of data you're getting access to. There's a danger of the analysis being data-driven and not driven by the problems, the questions that you need to ask. There may be social bias built into your data, racial bias, gender bias, economic bias, so you're not really getting a true representative picture of all of the community that you're looking at. Dangers of automated decision-making algorithms, that there are increasing numbers of agencies which now use algorithms to make decisions without human intervention, and there's a big literature on the problems involved there. Methodological challenges, issues of data quality, how you address causality, lack of theory, issues of ground truthing, validating data which you get from one source through triangulation. And then there's a range of data security, privacy, and ethical issues which often tend to not receive priority. They're often just mentioned briefly at the end of evaluation, but some of these are really critical for moral, ethical, practical reasons. So this is something which we always need to keep much more in mind than is often being done at the moment. So finally, big data will dramatically change how evaluations are designed, conducted, and used. It can make evaluation a powerful tool for management and policymakers, rather than just being backward-looking and for accountability. You can now use it for forward-looking planning and prediction. Big data is also essential to address complex development initiatives such as the SDGs. And finally, if evaluators do not quickly adapt to using the new data science tools, there is a danger that evaluation could become marginalized in many organizations. So this was just a very rapid review of a complex and very important set of issues. And so I wish you success in your future evaluations, and thank you for your attention.